On October 14, 1890, David Dwight Eisenhower, who later switched his first and middle name around, was born to David Jacob Eisenhower and Ida Elizabeth Stover Eisenhower in a house near the railroad track in Denison, Texas. He was the third of 7 sons born to his family. For school in his hometown, Eisenhower attended West Point, where he mainly focused on football until he blew his knee out. Afterwards, he still was not that focused on school, and his teachers did not really have faith in him as he graduated middle of his class, 61st of 164. Right out of school, he spent time at one military station after another. That is where he met his wife, Mamie Dowd. He married her, and they had 2 sons together. He served in the Army from 1929 to 1945, and part of it was him being a commander in World War II. Even though both political parties asked him to run for president for them, Republican emissaries persuaded him to run for president in 1952. For his campaign against Adlai Stevenson, his slogan that the people loved was "I Like Ike," as "I Like Ike" was a part of the first ever televised political commercial. Due to his great campaigning, Dwight D. Eisenhower was elected the 34th president in 1953, and he was president for 2 terms until 1961. The vice president for him during his 2 terms was none other than Richard Nixon. Some events that happened during this time were the Korean War ending and the Vietnam War starting. Also, Alaska and Hawaii were finally made states. Last but not least, the civil rights movement was born. After his time in office, he and his wife went to live in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and they also lived in Indian Wells, California in the winter. Even though he was not president, he still helped the U.S. by providing advice to President John F. Kennedy. He also wrote memoirs about his time in the White House called At Ease, Stories I Tell to Friends. Sadly, due to a heart attack he suffered in 1965, he was hospitalized. He spent 9 months in the hospital before passing away on March 28, 1969. He then was buried in the chapel of the grounds of his boyhood home, which is now a library and museum.